Hey everybody. Hey, last week's video I asked for some help in helping me be a little bit creative. Sometimes I get a little stale. And you guys came through. I had all kinds of ideas. And this week's video, we're going to follow up with one of them. Mr. Rubin asked, he says, Lynn, why don't you show how you go about designing a segmented pen blank? And I do have a process, and more times than not, especially when I'm building some pens that I know I'm going to put in a show, or if somebody specifically has asked for something, I'll sit down and use this process that we're going to look at. Sometimes I'll come out though and just freewheel it and see what we come up with, but more times than not, I'll use the process that we're about to go through. I'm going to show you how I sat down and my thought process and the things to consider when I set out to design a segmented pen blank. I hope you find it helpful, and let's just go design one. Thanks. I have this notebook that I keep that when I design a segmented blank, I write down the pen kit that I use, and then the upper barrel, lower barrel, and what I do with it in case I ever want to make it again. So I've got a few in here, and it's graph paper, so that each square is 1/4 of an inch. So it helps me to visualize what's going on. So one of the first things that I do is I get my dimensions of my blank. This particular pen kit's only going to have one tube, and so I'll mark it off. So that's going to be the length of our tube. We'll start with a blank that's 3/4 of an inch, so it's with each one of them being 1/4 of an inch. 1, 2, 3. 3. So this will represent our 3/4 inch by 3/4 inch by about 2 1/8 blank. Now that's the finished size because that's the tube. The next thing I do is, of course, you always consider what pen kit you're using. I'm going to be using a black and gold pen kit. It's called Oxford from the Penn State. So with being black and gold, I think we want to dress it up somewhat. Let me show you what it is here. In this particular pen kit, only the lower tube is your choice. The way they've done the upper is they've made it's kind of an anodized aluminum, if you will. You zoom in there. It's kind of an anodized aluminum. It's quite attractive, actually. More about the pen kit later. But we take into consideration the overall looks of the pen kit. So with this black and gold, I want it to look kind of classy. And then the next thing that I want to do is I look at what materials do I have. This is some Hawaiian koa, and I think I'm going to make this pen out of koa. But now, what goes well with koa and is going to highlight our pen? We've got some options here. I have all of these papers, fiber papers, all these different colors. We've got these, and then we have these. And of all of these, I think I like this off-white. I like this off-white. I think this would be too cheap looking to go with that good looking pen kit. If it were chrome, we might use this, but being gold, I don't know, I think it might clash. I don't want to do blue. I don't think the black and the brown will go well together on this pen kit. I don't like the red. I don't like this red, and I don't like this rust. We could possibly do a green and a off-white combination. And we have this blue veneer that's real thin. That might work too. I'll be honest with you, I think I'm going to go with off-white. And I have a 1/16 inch piece of cherry. I think what we will do is we'll sandwich a couple of pieces of this off-white in between the cherry. You get a glimpse of that. So we'll have a sandwich between the off-white and the cherry, and then we'll put it inside our Koa blank somehow. That we have to decide. Okay, so once we get this sandwich together, we cut a piece and we put it on the other side. Other side here, we'll have white, cherry, white. That's going to be about 1/8 of an inch thick is all, so it's not really too much of a factor. So we have two options. We can either do this thing like at a 45. We can position, we can find out, let's see, we do this, and we could either do a 45-degree cut and put our sandwich in there, or we can come in equidistance 1/4 of an inch and put our sandwich in here, and then come back this way 1/4 inch and put our sandwich in there. Kind of like that idea. And another possibility would be to put the same sandwich through here like this. Now, what that would entail would be cutting this piece off, so we'd have a piece of Koa. Cutting this piece off, we'd have a piece of Koa. Then we'd have this middle piece of Koa, then we'd split it in half and sandwich it up, and then sandwich it all back up. It's the kind of decisions we have to make when we design. Now, I like either one of these options, just going here and going here. It's a pretty classy look. The only issue when you go long ways with a sandwich like this is that you have to make sure you drill dead center. Otherwise your line's gonna be crooked. So if we did that, I'd drill it on the lathe. You know what? Let's make 2 of them. Let's do 2 blanks. Let's make 1 of each way. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So we'll come in here at 1/4 of an inch. We'll put our sandwich. Then we'll come back here 1/4 of an inch. Then we'll put our sandwich. And then we'll do the same thing on this one, but we'll make 2 of them. We'll make 1 this way and 1 this way. And what I usually do, we're going to put this on, it's on the Penn State Oxford rollerball. I always make that note so I know what kind of kit it was. So this overall blank is 2 1/8 inches long. So what we'll do is we want to end up with a segment at each end that's 1/4 inch. So that's a quarter and a quarter is a half. And then we've got 2 1/8 less a half. So that is 1 9/8. So that is 1 5/8. This should end up being by the time we make it. It's pretty close to right. So, okay, for notes for future reference, and I do this again if I want to remake it. This particular blank is going to be out of Koa, and we're going to make a sandwich of off-white fish paper, cherry, and off-white fish paper. So that's how I go about designing. Now let's go ahead and make this. Well, I hope that made some sense to you. It makes sense to me. That's the way I go about it. Next week, we will build that blank and we'll turn the pen and we'll see what that blank looks like in a finished product. And we'll also evaluate that Oxford pen kit while we're doing that. So, glad you tuned in. Thanks for all the comments. You know, I don't ask this every week, but I would ask that you would share this video, give it a thumbs up, like it, give me some comments. All those kind of things helps the channel, helps my channel grow. The more views it gets, the better off we do with YouTube, and the better off we do, the more people that get to see it. That's our goal, is to get more people to see what it is that we do. Thanks a lot, and we appreciate it. If you hadn't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next week. Be safe.